Hi, welcome back to the Magic Academy. I'm Celestial Petals. Today we are going over the basics of making a smoothie, the perfect smoothie. Stay tuned. Okay, you guys, welcome. So I hope I can stay in focus and in view here. It is a little bit awkward working at a table. I'm kind of very far from the camera. I'm hoping sound works out okay as well, so my voice might sound a little strange. I'm trying to reach you. Today we are going over the basics of making a smoothie. So we're going to cover a little bit of ingredients. Later on we're going to cover a lot of ingredients. Today we're going to cover the basics of ingredients and how to make a great consistency in your smoothie. Okay, so first things first. What do I mean by consistency? Okay, so when you have a smoothie, it can turn out like this. Do you see how watery that consistency is? Still a nice smoothie, but it's very watery. Not really considered smoothie. That's just a juicy blended drink. Okay? So that's one way to make a smoothie. Not really the method that we're going for, although that's fine. In some cases, that might be preferred. You might want a smoothie in that consistency because you might want to drink it super fast. You might not want it super cold. You know, there's many reasons why you might want a smoothie that consistency. So that's one thing that we want to consider is how watery do we want the smoothie. Now, preferably, a well-made smoothie, it's going to be more like this one. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, it's thick. It's not as creamy and rich and thick as it can be. It's been sitting here for a few minutes, but it is a nice, thick, well-blended, evenly blended smoothie. Both of these are actually evenly blended. So that's a good sign of your blender. So first of all, one thing we need to bring up is your equipment. You want to make sure that your equipment is great for the job. To do that, you want a blender that's at least 1,000 watts. You're going to have to start with something about that wattage. That's really the only thing that has the power. But it's not just the power that gives you a nice, even smoothie. And by even, what I mean is from the very top of the smoothie right up here to the very bottom down here, it's the same smooth consistency all the way through. You don't have broken bits that are unblended and uneven floating at the top or at the bottom. It's even consistency from top to bottom. Okay? That's what we're talking about when we talk about an even smoothie. And it doesn't separate when it's left set. That's another thing too. We don't want our blendies to separate. We want to be able to enjoy them from first sip to the last sip. And to get the most benefits out of it as well. One of the benefits of making a well-blended smoothie is how your digestive system, how your body processes that smoothie. You're getting everything. Your body doesn't have to do extra work on that fiber membranes of the fruit or vegetable. So your body just gets the straight impact of the vitamin. That's what we're trying to do. So it doesn't just pass through our system, our body actually can absorb most of it. So that's why we want a nice, even blended consistency from top to finish, top to bottom. So power in your motor, in your blender, is one thing, but that's not the only thing. You also want the blades to be able to not just break apart, okay, not just hit and whack at your fruit. You want them to be sharp enough and designed well enough that they're going to slice and cut. Okay, so you want them to be sharp enough to do that as well. So you need sharp blades, you need powerful blades, you need a powerful, strong blender to have both of that. You also need a design feature in the pitcher, okay, in the craft area, that houses the blades, you know, and that uses all that power, that will direct the power down to those blades, those sharp, powerful blades. That trio system, that combination of those three features is what makes your smoothie smooth, well blended, and even every time, and it prevents blind spots within your blender. So everything gets blended all the time. So you don't have to worry about, you know, a dry patch stuck to the side of the blender or at the bottom or at the side somewhere. Because then you're losing all your mix-ins and all your superfoods, and why do you want to do that, right? You don't want to lose all of that. So you want a blender that's going to do all three of those. It's going to, the shape of it is going to, of the pitcher, is going to be scientific, to not have blind spots, and to work with the force that pushes all the product, all the food, all your superfoods and powders down to the blades. Then you want an 1,000-watt engine in the thing, at least, motor, to be able to spin those blades powerfully and quickly. And you want speed control as well. So that's the fourth thing that you want. You want to be able to have speed control. Because if you're going to be working with frozen foods or harder or larger foods, then you're going to want to pulse, okay, at your own control. Or at least have a pulse setting, you know, that's automatic, something that pulses that ice for you. You're going to want that, so you don't run out your motor. And then lastly, you want to have sharp blades that are designed well enough, not just sharp, that are designed well enough that they're going to slice through your fruit, not just chop at it, not just hit it, and knock it around. Okay, so that's really what you want to be looking for in your blender. So there, the covered blenders. Now you know what you need in a blender. What I'm using is the KitchenAid 5-speed diamond blender. It's awesome, and it makes these wonderful smooth blendies from start to finish, great consistency, and it does other things as well. So if you just want to chop something for a salsa or a soup or something, you can do those features as well. It has controls, 5 speeds. So I have control. I can stir something, chop it, mix it, puree it, liquefy it, crush ice into powder, and I can pulse all of those as well at my control as I manually want to. So that's great. It's 1,000 watts. The pitcher design is great. The blender blades are super sharp, and they're designed so that they hit every part of the food, as well as they turn, they create more of a suction and a vortex to pull the food into the blades. So it's a great design blender. You guys want to get something like that. Oh, by the way, the price point is like $130. $129 is what I paid. So that is a excellent price point for such a nice blender. Okay, so what's the next thing that we want to consider when we're talking about consistencies? Because that's where we're at right now. Do we want liquidy? Do we want thick? And how do we get both without it being an accident when we mean to have both? Or when we mean to have one or the other. Okay, so first, are you going to be working with, you know, natural fruit, that's the unfrozen, fresh fruit, or are you going to be working with some frozen fruits? Or both? Okay, so your unfrozen fruits and vegetables are going to give you more of this consistency, okay? Because they're not frozen. It's the frozen water within the fruit and vegetable that gives you such a smooth, sorry, not smooth, but such a strong frozen smoothie, okay? Without having to add ice, which is preferable because you don't want to water down your smoothie. So I would recommend using some fresh fruits if you'd like to, but buy them fresh and then prep them. Dice everything into 3-inch cubes, at least that small. Freeze it, bag it up in freezer bags and freeze it. So have all that prep done ahead of time and have them organized in your freezer and make a menu on your fridge of everything that you have. You've got bananas, you've got mangoes, you have blueberries, you have beets, you have spinach. You can freeze your spinach and it looks beautiful the whole time you have it in the freezer. So freeze all your stuff. And as you have fresh fruits or vegetables that you want to use, you use a combination of them if you want to get a nice thick smoothie, okay? Now, some other ways to get thick smoothies are to use ingredients that make your smoothie thicker, like a banana, or yogurt, or oatmeal, or peanut butter. Some powders. Things like that will make your smoothies thicker and creamier, okay? Milks. Some milks. So you want to consider that too. When you're using the waters, okay, and the coconut water or the alkalized water, however you're using that, then that will water down your smoothie. It might make the taste a little bit watery as well. So consider that too. Okay, so those are some of the basics as far as how to get a rich, thick smoothie and how to get a liquidy smoothie. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and clean this up and I'll be right back. Okay, so let's talk about some other tools that come in handy when you are going to be making your blendies or your smoothies. You want to have some measuring cups and scoops. Okay, I like to use my favorite ones that I use most of all. So 1 cup, 1/2, which I'm sure it's probably in one of my fruit bags, 1/3, and 1/4. Okay, so just a basic measuring set is all you need. Your measuring spoons, okay, one of everything. You're going to want a tablespoon, you're going to want a teaspoon, you're going to want a 1/2 teaspoon, all the way down to 1/8 of a teaspoon. So get yourself a nice little set of teaspoons. You can get them for $1 almost at any dollar store or even Walmart. And keep them handy. If you have the kind where they rub off, you can't tell what size they are, then just take your larger ones and flip them in the opposite direction of the other ones. Okay, and then you'll be able to see which are your larger ones, and so you don't get your teaspoon mixed up from your 1/2 teaspoon if you've got something like that going on. Okay, so that's one thing that you can do. Measuring cups. Now I know you know one mistake that you make first when you start doing your smoothies is, okay, I got a blender, I got a pitcher, I'm just going to throw it all in there and go for it. Well, that's okay. You can do that. I mean, there's many different kinds out there, like the ones that come in the little cup sizes, or different kinds of pitcher sizes where that might be easy for you to do. But if you have a large pitcher like I do, this is a 60-ounce pitcher, you can get quite a lot of food in there. And maybe you don't want to make an extra smoothie, or you don't want to have one left over in the freezer. You just want this one flavor now. So you'll need some measuring cups because we're going to be measuring liquid. So get yourself a 1 cup or a 2 cup. Boy, these are old and stained. So I've got what I use is a 1 cup, a 2 cup, and a 4 cup. The reason why I have one so big is because I do make them for 2, and so this comes in really handy. So if you're making them for 2 people, the 4 cup will work great. It's a 32-ounce by volume, which will work great with your 60-ounce pitcher and still leave room for you to blend and blend away. Okay, so first thing, if you're making for yourself, if you want a 32-ounce smoothie, okay, if you want an 8-ounce smoothie, you're going to start in this. Kind of really small for a 60-ounce pitcher. I would go with the 2 cup, make yourself a 16-ounce smoothie. In doing this, what you're going to consider is the ounces of your final product. Okay, that's what you're considering before you put any ingredients in. Why do we consider the ounces of our final product? Because that will tell us how much product, other foods that we're going to be using. So you don't have too much spinach or too much cucumber or too much chocolate, whatever that you're making. So you have nice even ingredients and your smoothie tastes great because the flavors are balanced. And your smoothie isn't too large or too small, too frozen or too liquidy, because you can waste ingredients doing that. If you're pouring into a large pitcher or even a small pitcher, you can find yourself putting too much of one thing. One thing I've done the past week is use way too much almond milk because I've put too much fruits and vegetables in, and then I have to put a whole bunch more almond milk in, and I'm making this huge smoothie, and it's like way too big. It's just too much. And I'm wasting all my almond milk. I'm not able to experiment with as many smoothies as I want to because I'm using it all. So you'll want to decide before you begin what's the size of your final glass, okay, your final product. How many ounces is it? And if you don't know, let's say you have a glass and you're like, I don't know how much that is. Well, put some water in it and see how much water fills it up. That's how many ounces that glass is. Okay? And then you can use your measuring cup for that. So I like using these liquid measuring pitchers to fill into. That's why you want the 2 sets, because these you're going to be scooping into your pitcher, basically your measuring pitcher. You'll want to get 1 cup of liquid. Now, if you don't like it that watery, don't use as many frozen fruits and vegetables, and don't use your waters. You'll want to use your teas, which you can use with your waters, okay? Even your coconut milk. I'll show you how to make some great things with those some other time. But you'll want to start with your teas, your milks, or whatever that gives you more flavor. If you're a flavor bug, you love your flavors, you don't like it watered down, you know, you like that taste to hit your taste buds, then you'll want to add teas and milks, your almond milks, your plant-based milks, and other liquids that have flavor, or definitely use powders and things that are flavored to go back in, or even extracts, okay? So those are some things you want to keep in mind. How watery do you want to taste when you're done? That's going to decide what your base liquid is. So that's what we were just discussing. What is your base liquid? You'll want 1 cup of your base liquid. And then you'll want about 2 to 3 spoons or cups of your fruits and vegetables. So if you're going to do 3 cups, okay, I wouldn't do all 3 cups frozen without letting them set in the liquid for about 10 minutes to start softening. Okay, you don't have to. I mean, if you got a strong blender, you don't have to. But I would say do that, because then you don't get that overly frozen drink. Even if your blender can handle that, you don't want a drink that's like overly frozen, you know, like a real thick shake. Then let it go ahead and set in the liquid for a few minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, covered, of course. And then go ahead and put it in your blender and mix it up. Okay, give that fruit a second to decrystallize just a little bit. So you'll want 3 cups of fruits and vegetables, 2 to 3, with 1 cup of liquid. So 3/4. I would say 3/4 to 1 cup of liquid, because if you're using your waters, you only may want 3/4 of a cup of liquid. Okay, and then you may only want 2 cups of fruits and vegetables, or so on. So you'll even it out from there. 3/4 to 1 cup of liquid, and 2 to 3 cups of fruits and vegetables. So here's how I work it. If you're having a fruit smoothie and you want some green mixed in there, then you'll do 2 cups of fruit, whatever mixes you would like, as long as it totals 2 cups. Then you'll do a cup of your vegetable. Okay? Now, if you want a greener, more vegetable smoothie, you will use 2 cups of your vegetables and 1 cup of your fruit. So that's how you'll know, are you having a green smoothie or are you having a fruit smoothie? Okay, so besides fruit and vegetable, water and juice, or water, your liquid, what else are you going to want in your smoothie? It depends on what kind of flavor you want to go with your combination of fruit and vegetable. Do you want it to be nutty? If you want it to be nutty, maybe you want to add some nut butters like cashew butter or almond butter or basic peanut butter. Maybe you want to put a little honey in there. Honestly, some of your vegetables can be so green tasting that when you first start doing vegetable smoothies and green smoothies, if you're not using that much fruit or you're using water with them, you may want a little sweetener of some sort to like honey or something like that. Okay, so, or nut butter as well. Maybe you'll want to add some fresh mix-ins like coconut or anything else that's ground like that. You know, what you would find in a granola. Throw some granola in there, some oatmeal, something fresh like that. What else? So those are the kind of mix-ins that you'll want to put in there. The two to get started with are your nut butters, your oatmeal, your coconut is an extra one, anything like that. Now, powders. Why use powders? Well, if you're substituting your meals with fruits and vegetables, okay, and waters, then that's great. You're giving your system a great boost, and you're getting a lot of superfoods. But you can't forget about protein. Here's something good to know about protein. When you are adding protein into your smoothies, what kind to pick? Because you've got soy protein, you've got whey protein, and you've got some other ones out there. Whey protein is what I'm going to recommend. I know a lot of people swear by soy, but if you're going to be feeding your smoothies to men and to boys, keep this in mind. A soy protein can turn into estrogen in the body. So you don't want to be giving that to your boys and your men in your life, okay? So watch out with that soy protein. It's not that it isn't good. That estrogen's great for us women. We just don't want to be giving it to the men and the boys. So you'll want to invest in something like whey protein, and I recommend getting it flavored. This is vanilla flavor. It's very mild flavored. It is from Sprouts, and it tells you all the nutritional values on the side, as well as a little bit about its manufacturing and so on, and how great it is. And it is an excellent source of protein. Low sodium, and it tells you how much to use in your daily amount. So you can take, it has 1 scoop in here. Let me show you how big it is. It's like 2 tablespoons. See? It's like a 2 tablespoon scoop. And you can take that and use half for one and half for another and split up your proteins if you want. So that's something you can do. So if you're going to be serving these to men, you'll want to go more for a whey protein or something else besides soy, okay? That's why we put protein into our shakes, because if we're supplementing our meals, we aren't eating that protein at that meal unless we put it in some way, shape, or form, okay, some other way. Or we have a piece of meat on the side, or some other kind of protein on the side. Nuts, these are a protein as well, but it's excellent just to add that in there, just to make sure you get the right amount of protein. What other kind of things can you mix in? Antioxidant powders and things like that. So something like wheatgrass. Wheatgrass powder is excellent to use. You can use the matcha green tea powder right down here. That's excellent to use as well. And you can use the cacao powder if you want it to be more chocolatey, or even cocoa powder. You can do that as well. Those are all superfoods, okay? It's a superfood, which means it has extra added benefits that make it more than just vitamins, okay? Things that benefit you. So superfoods are great to include in your smoothies. Some other things that you might want to add in there besides oatmeal and peanut butter is maybe some chia seeds or some flax seeds. That would be good to do as well. And if you want to give it a good flavor, or you don't have coconut milk, you're out of it at that point in time, or you're out of, you have almond milk, but you want almond coconut milk, okay? Yes, you should be doing it with the coconut milk because that's different. It's just coconut and water, and then it's drained off. It's mixed together in a mixer, and then it's drained off, and that milk is what's coconut milk when we're talking about plant-based milks. But coconut milk is also that nice fatty milk within the coconut, and you can get that in a powder form, and it adds some flavor. So it does contain 4.5 grams of saturated fat for 1 tablespoon. You know, so if you're not wanting to get your fats, or if you need to get your fats in, this is something you might want to use or not use. It's not a superfood or anything. It's just something I like the flavor of, so I grabbed it. And again, sweeteners. You may want to flavor your green, with sweetener, your green smoothies. I would use organic honey. Okay, Sprouts makes an excellent tasting organic honey. Or at least their bees do. Or you'll want to use something like stevia or melon or some kind of fruit that's really sweet to add flavor in there. Use your vanilla extracts. That works as well too. Or any of your extracts. As a matter of fact, there are some flavor extracts by, what's that company? That bakery company that we bake cakes for. What are they called? Wilton. Wilton has like a kit for $24 that is flavor drops. And they have coconut, they have lime, they have basil, they've got graham cracker, and you can put those in your drink as well. So those are great to have on hand as well. Okay? So those are all some ideas for things that you can have to do your smoothies and how to build a smoothie. So we'll go over that one last time before we're done with this video. And then we'll make a smoothie. So 1 cup of liquid, 2 to 3 cups of your fruits or vegetables, 2 to 3, and then any of your mix-ins to either thicken it, to add flavor, or to add superfoods. Okay? And then sweeteners or anything else that you want to do as well. And if you want it more icy and thicker than what you have created your drink to be, you can always add a few ice cubes into the blender as well. And then just go ahead and use the crushed ice feature button on your power blender first. And then once the ice is all crushed, then go ahead and pulse or manually choose a speed to blend your smoothie. Okay, let's find a smoothie to make. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Also, if you're looking for more, go ahead and click the image in the center. That'll take you to all my playlists. And you can find me on my social media in the description below.